The air hung heavy with sorrow that rainy afternoon in the grand cemetery of Eldridge Manor. Mourners clad in black clustered around the open casket, their sobs mingling with the patter of rain on umbrellas. Alexander Harrington, the iron-fisted CEO of Harrington Industries, stood like a statue carved from grief, his sharp features etched deeper by loss. His only son, Ethan Harrington, lay pale and still inside the polished mahogany coffin, 25 years old, snatched away too soon by a tragic car accident on a fog-shrouded highway. Or so everyone believed. Alexander's world had crumbled in an instant. Ethan had been his heir, his pride, the boy who inherited his father's ambition but tempered it with a kindness Alexander had long forgotten. Whispers among the crowd spoke of the empire's future now uncertain, of stocks plummeting and rivals circling like vultures. But for Alexander, it was personal, a void that no boardroom victory could fill. His wife, Isabella, clung to his arm, her elegant frame trembling, tears streaming down her porcelain face. "Our boy," she whispered repeatedly, as if the words could summon him back. The priest's voice droned on, reciting verses of eternal peace, but the words felt hollow. Friends, employees, and distant relatives bowed their heads, some weeping genuinely, others out of obligation to the man who controlled their livelihoods. No one noticed the frail figure slipping through the crowd, a beggar woman, her tattered shawl soaked through, her bare feet muddied from the streets. She was Elara Thorne, though the world knew her only as a shadow haunting the city's alleys. Once, she had been more, a nurse, a dreamer, before life's cruelties stripped her bare. Her eyes, sharp and knowing despite the lines of hardship, fixed on the casket. As the ceremony neared its end, the pallbearers stepped forward to lower Ethan into the earth. A collective wail rose from the crowd. Isabella collapsed into Alexander's arms, her cries piercing the wail of rain. Alexander's jaw clenched. He hadn't shed a tear, not in public. Vulnerability was a luxury he couldn't afford. But inside, his heart shattered like glass. Elara pushed closer, her presence an anomaly amid the tailored suits and designer dresses. Security eyed her suspiciously, but she moved with quiet determination, weaving through the throng until she stood mere feet from the casket. She leaned in, her breath fogging the glass panel over Ethan's face. The crowd's sobs masked her whisper at first, but then it cut through like a blade. "He's breathing." Heads turned. Murmurs rippled. Alexander's eyes narrowed, fury flashing across his face. "Who is this woman?" "Get her out of here," he barked, signaling his guards. But Elara didn't flinch. She raised a trembling hand, pointing at Ethan's chest. "Look. He's not gone. He's breathing faint, but there." Chaos erupted. The priest faltered mid-prayer. Isabella gasped, pushing past her husband to peer into the casket. At first, nothing. Then, a subtle rise and fall, so imperceptible it could be a trick of the light. But Elara insisted, her voice gaining strength. "I've seen it before. Catalepsy. A death-like trance. He's alive." The guards grabbed her arms, but Alexander held up a hand. "Wait." His voice cracked for the first time. He knelt beside the casket, pressing his ear to Ethan's chest. Silence stretched eternally. Then, a faint heartbeat, a shallow breath misting the glass. "My God," he murmured. "Call an ambulance. Now." The cemetery transformed into a frenzy. Paramedics arrived in minutes, confirming what Elara had seen. Ethan was in a deep coma, mistaken for death by overworked doctors in the chaos of the accident. His vital signs had been so weak, his body rigid from shock, that the coroner had declared him gone. But life clung stubbornly within him. As Ethan was rushed to the hospital, Alexander turned to Elara, who stood drenched and defiant amid the dispersing crowd. "Who are you?" he demanded, his empire's weight momentarily forgotten. Elara met his gaze, her eyes holding secrets long buried. "I was his nurse once, years ago, when he was just a boy fighting pneumonia. You fired me, Mr. Harrington, for being too soft. But I never forgot him. I saw the accident on the news, came to pay my respects. And thank God I did." Alexander's face softened, the walls he'd built cracking. Isabella approached, her hands clasping Elara's. "You saved our son. How can we ever repay you?" But Elara shook her head. "Life isn't a transaction. Just be kind to those who have less. That's all." In the days that followed, Ethan awoke in a sterile hospital room, his eyes fluttering open to the sight of his parents' tear-streaked faces. The accident had been no accident, a rival's sabotage, uncovered by the renewed investigation sparked by his resurrection. Alexander, humbled, dismantled his cutthroat ways, channeling his fortune into charities for the homeless, naming one after Elara. Elara vanished back into the shadows, refusing rewards. But whispers of her spread, the beggar who defied death, the angel in rags. Ethan sought her out months later, finding her in a soup kitchen, serving others with quiet grace. "You gave me a second chance," he said, embracing her like family. "And you reminded me of hope," she replied, her smile radiant despite the scars. In the end, the funeral that never was became a legend, a testament to the power of unseen eyes, the fragility of certainty, and the unbreakable thread of humanity. Alexander learned that true strength lay not in dominance, but in vulnerability. Isabella found solace in forgiveness. And Ethan? He lived fully, honoring the whisper that pulled him from the grave. For in the quietest voices, the greatest miracles are born. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up sign, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us, Heavy Black Heart.